So, how about these riots, eh? Anyone else's dick hard?
If anything, I get a big ol' hate boner towards all these rioters and looters.
Mine's so hard it grew an inch, bringing me up to almost average, which is nice. Now when I pull it out, my wife only chuckles instead of outright laughs. I'm just kidding, of course. My wife doesn't laugh at my dick, at least not to my face. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, my dick. So I'm uncircumcised, so sometimes, no. No. I'm talking about the riots.
Oh, TJ, you're such a class act. This is why that even though you say stupidly disagreeable shit, why I cannot outright hate you. But anyway, let's get down to the video. Cue the intro.
Right? The riots! I love riots. I love the breakdown of the social order in general.
Alright, so I guess that means you wouldn't mind if I broke down your social order when and if you got your version of social order achieved within society, huh?
Like, when I see a video of a bunch of protesters burning down an AutoZone, and then I see people in the comments saying, why would they burn down the AutoZone?
Yeah, I'm wondering that myself. Like, what associate of AutoZone has anything to do with the case of George Floyd's killing that sparked these riots in the first place, or any other case of police brutality for that matter?
I don't know who these people are. I don't know how they think. But my question to them is, why not burn down the AutoZone?
Because presumably the owner, managers, employees did nothing wrong, particularly in the area of what the focus of the riots is all about, and if we're a halfway decent society, don't go punishing innocent people completely unassociated with some immoral act that we're angry over?
I guess I feel a little bad for the wage slaves.
They're not slaves.
That no longer get their quasi-subsistence AutoZone paycheck anymore, but that's about it. The CEO of AutoZone, William C. Rhodes III, he made $8,617,562 last year. How much does the average AutoZone employee make? $12.07 an hour. So that means that they would have to work for about 713,000, do this off the top of my head, 713,965 hours to make as much as the guy that they work for. Or that'd be 81 years straight, basically.
Was there supposed to be an argument here? I literally heard no argument at this point right here. Is the implication supposed to be that everybody is supposed to be outraged over the wealth disparity between the owner of AutoZone and all the employees that worked there? I mean, if I'm supposed to have some sort of moral outrage over that, that is so freaking subjective of a moral stance right there, that wealth disparity is a bad thing. That's even more subjective than whether or not pineapple is good on pizza.
Why do I bring that up, though? Because, fuck AutoZone. That's why. I'm supposed to have sympathy for AutoZone? I hope every fucking AutoZone on Earth burns to the fucking ground.
Tell me in the comment section how much you, my audience, would like to see TJ's studio burn to the fucking ground.
And people have to resort to making car parts out of clay. Yeah, that's right. Learn to work a fucking kiln, bitch.
Well, at least I'd still have O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Probably worth mentioning. There's a good chance that the cops themselves started the AutoZone fire. You guys probably seen the video of the very suspicious white man dressed in all black, carrying a black umbrella, and conducting himself very much like a fucking cop. But I can't prove he's a cop, so let's move on.
If you can't prove he's a cop, nor even have hard evidence of such, then there is seemingly no good chance of the guy being a cop who started the riot. And so what if he was white? There are minority cops too. I don't see how him being white is that important as to whether this guy is actually a cop staging a riot or not. And since we're on this point, I've actually been shared before on Facebook by a former friend of mine, a picture of some protester who was actually a suspected infiltrator found to be wearing some kind of earpiece, and this friend was acting like it's evidence that the police are staging or starting these riots. Connecting it back, both of these examples are not evidence of such. For all I know, they could be some kind of lackey for some George Soros funded organization. And just ultimately, I've seen no hard evidence that police are hijacking these protests to fire them up into violent riots. There are some examples of cops throwing the first blow of aggression and then the protesters decide to lash out at everyone around them, including innocent business owners across the appropriate area. But that's not conspiracy type crap that you seem to imply. That's just malpractice on the cops' part to enrage the protesters just in general. For all I know, a few of these riots could have been staged by the police. I mean, there are so many to keep track of, but all I'm saying is that I've seen no real evidence of such yet.
I'm also insulted that I'm supposed to feel bad for that Target that got looted, you know?
Not necessarily. Case in point being of when they are practically promoting these riots and just allowing them willy-nilly to happen in their own stores. The only thing that I would like people to acknowledge is that they are unjustified because Target had nothing to do with police brutality.
When some mom and pop store gets looted or burned, I can see being sad about that. I can see, oh no, the protesters are destroying their own community.
Remember what I essentially implied before the intro about TJ having a likable personality? I might want to take back that statement because that statement from him right there just came off as totally bad faith.
That seems to be a favorite talking point of the misguided brainlets who actually defend the terrible status quo in this country.
Ahem. What do you mean by status quo when you say brainlets who defend the status quo, TJ? For right now, I'm gonna just presume that you primarily mean people who generally don't want real change in policing practices, and I'm not even gonna try to assert what percentage of right-wingers it is that I actually think that are against police reform, or at least not outspoken enough for it. Personally, I am for overturning DC versus Warren and repealing qualitative immunity, particularly how it stands right now. But regardless of how many right-wingers, who I'm assuming you're referring to as brainlets in this point, TJ, are for the status quo, the talking points about concern for the small business owners being looted is no less important of a point, shithead.
But when the target is Target, who exactly do I feel sorry for? I'm really supposed to give a fuck about companies that fuck over their employees this badly?
Just for some context, Target actually plans on raising their employees' wages to $15 an hour. Look, I don't expect you or anyone else to feel any empathy technically for Target or any other multi-billion-dollar corporation, but ask yourself, why is it that you can at least understand why somebody would be sad for a small business owner, assuming you really do stand by that sentiment, TJ, and apply it to any and all business owners. Why shouldn't small business owners have their private property and livelihoods damaged? Did they do anything wrong? Is it because they have a right to their privately owned property, this case being their businesses, free from any damage or theft that another person would do to it? If that's a principle you hold, then it be only right for said principle to be held consistently. So extend it to all business owners, and really all private property owners in general, regardless of wealth.
Why? Like, why? Because that's what this country has disgustingly defined as normal?
Because people within this country and this country in general has said that it is okay and fine and dandy to be rich.
I hope every Target in America is looted, until the stores are as barren as the little black void where Brian C. Cornell's heart is supposed to be.
This is what we have come down to, people. This is the reason that people say the original purpose of the protests are being overshadowed. That people are focusing too much with all this Marxist-Leninist type of jealousy over rich business owners and just advocating and even practicing rioting in general.
Those motherfuckers are the same motherfuckers telling me that the cop who crushed George Floyd's windpipe isn't such a bad guy after all.
Goes to show how few of people you've talked to, TJ.
So bottom line, justice for Floyd, and I hope they stop looting at some point. If there were more of us, we could go stop them from looting, but it's just us four.
Yeah, we definitely don't agree with the looting.
Yeah, no, looting.
But we do agree with the cause of the protest.
Yeah, definite protest.
Look, I'm not going to act like that there aren't any people out there that are like what TJ just described right there, but there are a whole lot of people who are seeing the George Floyd killing as completely unjustified, Chauvin as a piece of crap, and are against the looting and rioting at the same time. It just seems to me that TJ Kirk is just talking to only a very select amount of people right here. If he really has that narrow-minded of a view on how many opinions there are about this subject.
We're supposed to buy that this situation is righteous because Floyd wrote a bad check?
It wasn't a bad check, it was a counterfeit Jackson. And honestly, I'm going to just skip the rest of this part right here because I'm not here to justify the incident of George Floyd. Chauvin is a cold-blooded sociopath whose unjust, immoral piece of crap action has just caused the country a whole lot of pain and deserves life in prison, if not the death penalty over this. And George Floyd, in spite of what questionable character he was before he died, does not deserve death in this contextual situation in which he did die.
You know, when a man is crushed to death by a state pig, the reaction from a certain segment of the people is that he must have somehow deserved it.
All hyperbole aside, what is so wrong about taking an extra look into these cases of police brutality?
But if harm comes to a big American business enterprise, that same group of people doesn't stop for a fucking second to wonder what that business might have done to bring this upon itself.
Oh, and what wrong am I supposed to assume that these business owners have done, huh? That they've neglected to pay a certain wage or give out certain benefits that you believe that their employees have a right to?
Human life is cheap to these people. Business is what matters. Profit over people, even if it's not their profit. They're gonna defend the profit of some millionaire or billionaire who wouldn't fucking take time out of their day to spit on them.
It's because these people, right-wingers, libertarians, and capitalists like myself, realize that if we were rich, we would want to be able to run our businesses pretty much in peace as well. It's called the golden rule, fuckface. Learn it.
Over the life of a fellow human being. Why is that, do you think?
For the millionth time, the majority of these people realize that Chauvin was wrong.
These are the same people who want to reopen America prematurely, because to them the economy is more important than human life itself. Many of them have even stated their own willingness to die to save the economy.
Wait, are you seriously implying that you think it's totally okay and even called for that people get together in groups to not only protest but also riot over George Floyd, but it's not okay that they go back to their regular business within the economy, both in spite of COVID-19 being around?
Fuck you, you sociopathic hypocrite. You are part of the reason of why other right-wingers say that the left have no real principles, TJ.
I think it should be obvious to everyone at this point that capitalism, at least as it currently exists in America, is a death cult.
Put down the hyperbole, Amazing Atheist. Killing each other is not openly allowed or legalized within regular day-to-day society, and refraining from assisting somebody is not the same thing as killing them. If you wanted to say that the government is generally a death cult or something like that, that'd be at least a whole lot more understandable to me than saying that the economy, that capitalism as it stands in America, is some sort of death cult.
Fuck Jesus. Fuck the Bible. That shit means nothing to America. If these people followed Jesus, they'd view one another as brothers and sisters, not as the competition, or the customer, or the worker, or whatever other made-up distinctions they've built into their rigged hierarchy of dehumanizing bullshit.
Are you telling me that you have never competed against your own siblings in a game of sports or something like that, TJ? Like, for crying out loud! Somebody being your competition and being your sibling are not mutually exclusive with one another. And I would even go so far to say that even having somebody as a worker or customer or whatever is not mutually exclusive of them being your sibling possibly too. Like, stop it with the soy consumption and maybe you would not be so controlled by your overly emotional hyperbole, dude.
My only complaint about these riots is they're too damn small, too damn isolated, too damn short-lived.
You telling me that you want more of this shit to keep happening?
Look at this. Every grocery store looks like this. Every grocery store looks like this. Everything is either on the floor. Look at this. Can't even get no fucking food for my kids, G. Look at this. Came in the store to try to buy something because I'm not a thief. Look at this. In my hood, can't even get no food for my kids.
Looks like they're just finishing up. Why are you? We're on your side! We're on your side! Holy shit! We're on your side! We're on your fucking side! What the fuck? What the fuck?
Babies need milk. Can't even get nothing for my kids, bro. I feel like an animal, and black people made me feel like an animal. Y'all did this to us. Look at this. Look at this.
You can see in the surveillance video windows being broken out during the chaos in Chicago's South Loop late Saturday night. Looters ducking in to take what they can.
I could see the glass being completely just shattered, blown out by some object that they threw through the window.
But as her husband Ralph was trying to clean up outside, Alvarez says she turned to see him on the ground in front of a large crowd, unconscious.
I started to scream. I tried to wake him. He wouldn't wake back up. And I tried to call for the police. No one was picking up.
When she went to help him, that's when she says she was attacked.
A woman came out of nowhere and hit me over the back with the crowbar.
Look at the store. Look at this. But this is what we're fighting for. This is honoring George Floyd. People who already couldn't feed their kids, now they really can't feed their kids. Look at this.
Downtown Sacramento business owner is taking matters into his own hands when it comes to protecting his livelihood.
During violent protests Sunday, he didn't want to let a young man with a bat hurt his life's work.
Instead of giving him the opportunity to hold on to that bat and use it later on, I thought I would take it away from him. So I took it away from him, and now I have myself a new bat.
Washington says he feels the same pain as demonstrators.
I'm also a black person, black man who has dealt with the oppression that this country offers us.
I am so devastated right now. I am so devastated right now, G. This is not okay. For us to have to live like this, we do stupid shit like this all the time, and we so black proud. We so black and proud that we ain't gonna never be honest and be real about what's really going on. Y'all are so wrong for this. You came in your neighborhood and fucked up your shit. I'm not a thief. I'm not coming in this store and stealing nothing. And ain't nobody gonna turn me into no animal or make me feel like a thief. Y'all let them white folks send y'all off once again.
Cameras caught looters running out of several Santa Monica stores on Sunday. They carried out hand and armfuls of merchandise that belonged to businesses big and small.
The vandals just broke in, stole our cash machine, stole a few cases of wine. They were very well organized. They came down with duffel bags, SUVs. They went from shop to shop. They went in, they cleared out the duffel bags full. They got empty duffel bags. New SUV would pull up. It was very, very impressive, actually, to be honest.
Santa Monica police said they arrested over 400 people last night. Charges included looting, violation of curfew, burglary, and assault. The vast majority, 95% they say, were not residents. Nicole Chama said looters and vandals got into her Lebanese restaurant. They damaged her furniture and decor and got away with 2 cash registers, both full of money.
It's sad and it's very hurtful. I'm really hurt. I mean, this is my baby.
As Nicole picks up the pieces at her restaurant, a countless number of volunteers came out today to sweep, clean, and restore the city of Santa Monica.
It nearly made me weep for joy, and any anger I had about yesterday quickly went away as these wonderful individuals came to help out.
Look at all this shit on the floor. Look at all this on the floor. Everything. Everything's on the floor. Tissue. We couldn't even find tissue less than 2 months ago, and now it's on the floor.
Going through the plywood that we put up.
So you had already put plywood up in the front of the store.
Correct.
So they tore that down.
We were home watching this. If you call 911, they'll make a report on Monday. Nothing they can do. No help. They're overwhelmed. Very hard to watch. We care about food. Our people here, they care about this place. But the people who started, they're not from here. This is not our community people that are doing this. This is wrong.
Look at it. Meanwhile, we got plenty of fruits and vegetables. I'm not finna pick through this shit.
They ended up pulling my mom out of the car and they attacked her and they broke her leg and they broke her nose. I was in the back seat and I got pulled out the trunk. They tried to crash into our car. They tried to ram us off the road, and we were finally able to speed past everything through the fire and get to Fordham Road.
It's a noise we've heard a lot over the past 3 days. Glass shattering, businesses being broken into and looted.
They're out here trying to protest, that's fine, but you know, a lot of these small businesses, not just me, the whole street here, we all try to get back to the community.
That surveillance video is from Michael Snyder, who's the owner of the escape room locked in on 4th Street.
In case any of you are wondering, I've edited out a good portion of the albeit charismatic but still overly obnoxious ovulating from Amazing Atheist, because it was for the most part unnecessary filler, and I wanted to make more room for that compilation I just played right there and keep this video down to a digestibly watchable length. There were some actual points made amongst the rest of his ranting, granted, but I've edited those out as well because I don't see myself disagreeing enough with them to find it in me to respond to them. Although there are a couple more things I wanted to play of his.
People who watch my live streams have told me I'm too much of a reformist, not enough of a revolutionary. The real truth is I'm neither. I'm just a voice, bigger than some, smaller than others. I don't know what else to do but speak the truth as I see it for as long as I'm able to do so.
Thus, why I think it's worthy to point out that the thumbnail and title I've chosen for this video is hyperbole, people. Whatever pedantry or semantics you want to give me that he's not actually going full tanky at this point is irrelevant. Point is that people like him and Cortez in the following video I'm gonna play from one of Bering's videos are advocating for either a fully or watered down version of what society Antifa wants. A degeneration of free markets and private property rights, if not full-on communism.
If you're trying to call for the end of unrest, but you don't believe healthcare is a human right, if you're afraid to say Black Lives Matter, if you're too scared to call out police brutality, then you aren't asking for an end of unrest. You are asking for injustice to continue and for your people to continue to endure the violence of poverty, the violence of a lack of housing access, the violence of police brutality, and not say a damn thing.
Yeah, good old AOC here, basically saying, if you don't agree with me politically, then you have no right to want your cities to stop being fucking burnt down. What a fucking clown.
That's what you're asking for. So if you're out here calling for the end of unrest, then you better be calling for healthcare as a human right. You better be calling for accountability in our policing. You better be supporting community review boards. You better be supporting the end of housing discrimination. You better be standing up to for-profit real estate developers.
What's wrong with for-profit real estate developers? Real estate development is just another business, but for some reason that particular kind of business can't make a profit? That's retarded.
This is the kind of shit that just shifts away focus from what the protests are, or at least ought to be about. Police brutality, and gives people the suspicion that members of Antifa are influencing these protests to turn them into full-on riots, despite the fact that there might be little to no evidence, from what I've seen anyways, of Antifa being actually significantly involved. This isn't to say that I 110% disagree with the Amazing Atheist when he goes mentioning about the immorality of Chauvin and him killing George Floyd, police brutality in general, and how he mentions about how our society and how
it's hell.
It's just that people have different points of view in how our modern American society is hell. Some believe it's capitalism and some believe it's government. Some might even believe it's a combination of both. But in the ultimatum of things, and the point of this video being, advocate and protest for police reform. Go for it. But if you not only don't give a rat's ass for whatever innocent people get actively and intentionally hurt in the process of your movement, but even advocate for it continuing like TJ, AOC, and others, then you can go fuck yourself. If you guys like this video, hit that thumbs up button below. If you have some criticisms to me or think there are some areas where I can improve, comment them down below. And if you want to see more
dark, edgy content like this,
response videos, news shows, hangout streams, well then hit that subscribe button, cause I'm your man. Hope to see you all in the next video. See you all later, and God bless.